Last year, I joined the Wendy Wu Tour Secrets of Saudi Arabia. And I have to say, Saudi is a destination that just absolutely exceeded my expectations. It's a country of incredible landscapes, really rich history and culture, and delicious food. And we were given such a warm welcome. So I'm really pleased to be able to tell you a little bit more about this really special trip. So on this trip, you really are going to see every side of Saudi life. You'll start off in the capital, Riyadh, and while you're on your tour, you're going to be visiting the cities, Riyadh and Jeddah, and really getting a glimpse into modern life in Saudi. Jeddah at the end of the trip is along the sea. It has a completely different feel. You'll visit the street markets, you'll visit the fish market. There's some amazing foodie scene popping up there. And so it'll give you a completely different perspective on Saudi. But in the middle of the tour, you're going to be getting right out into the desert. And for me, this really was the highlight. I was expecting to see huge sand dunes, but the scale of them and the rock formations and the amazing starry night skies at night time, really do take your breath away. So let me tell you about two of the highlights for me in the desert. The first is Juba. Juba is right up in the north of Saudi Arabia. And so you have quite a long drive to get there, and you're driving through these rock formations that really make you feel like you're on another planet. And when you arrive there, we were met by a local guide. He was from a Bedouin family. He'd spent the first 7 years of his life in the desert. So he was able to talk to us about the vegetation that was growing, about how life is in the desert. And he was able to take us to these incredible rock formations where you can see artwork that dates back to the Bronze Age. And he was able to explain what all the different carvings meant and tell us stories from thousands of years ago, something really, really special. And the second highlight for me in the desert was when you arrive at Al Ula. So Al Ula is an oasis city in the middle of Saudi Arabia, and we stay there for 2 nights on the Wendy Wu Tour, and you visit some incredible ancient tombs, ancient cities, and you have time to explore all the different sites. And while you're there, you'll stay in a beautiful resort. It's basically carved into the rocks, and you'll stay in a lodge. It's really comfortable. You've got your own bathroom, but it's a lodge sort of in the desert, and you come outside of your lodge, and again, you've got these starry skies, and you've got these incredible rock formations all around you. So for me, that was definitely something that felt really special. So the thing that surprised me most about my time in Saudi Arabia was the really, really warm welcome that we got wherever we went. Now, I know the Middle East has that reputation for hospitality, but in Saudi Arabia, it really was quite special. We obviously attracted quite a lot of attention because there are not many Western tourists outside of the main cities. But everywhere we went, whether it was a historical site or even if we were at the market, we would basically be met with a warm welcome. People were curious about where we were from and what we were doing in Saudi Arabia, and people were so keen to make us feel welcome. So in Saudi, there is a real tradition of hospitality, and it's rooted in that Bedouin culture dating back from when, the environment was really quite harsh. And so people traveling through the country really relied on a warm welcome from each other. And everywhere you go, whether it's someone's home or a museum, they have a dedicated room called a majlis, and that is dedicated to welcoming people in. It's a space where you can enjoy an Arabic coffee and a date and meet with your host. So I think everywhere we went, we basically ate dates and drank coffee, and it was just a really, really lovely warm welcome and a lovely way to meet people and really talk to them about their lives in modern day Saudi. It wasn't just dates that we were stuffing ourselves with. In Saudi, we had delicious food everywhere that we went, and you are definitely not going to go hungry when you go anywhere in the Middle East. Again, this tradition of hospitality extends to meal times. So most lunches we were met with tables that were groaning with warm flatbreads, hummuses, fresh salads. There would be rice, stews, meat. So, that real Middle Eastern flavours. And for the meat eaters, there was always grilled meats. Most of our group tried camel a couple of times. I'm actually a vegetarian, so I didn't try the camel meat, but I did try camel ice cream, which was absolutely delicious, really rich and creamy. Sometimes when you're out in the desert and there's not so many restaurants around, you'll have dinner at your hotel, which is usually buffet style, a really great mix of Western dishes and local dishes. And then other times you're going to be out at local restaurants, dining with the locals. A couple of highlights: we ate lunch one day at an eco farm where we could see how all the food was being grown and then sit down to have this delicious feast. And also another highlight for me was when we were in Jeddah at the end, we went to a beautiful restaurant where the chef was a young up-and-coming Saudi chef, and he was cooking like local traditional Saudi food, but really putting a modern twist on it. Absolutely delicious. We absolutely came home stuffed full. We did have a bit of a detox on the alcohol though. Of course, Saudi is completely dry, so there won't be any beer or wine to be found with your meal, but we did enjoy delicious fresh juices. So freshly squeezed pomegranate juice, lemon and mint, just really, really refreshing when you're out sightseeing. And at a lot of the sites as well, as part of their welcome, you'll be given a delicious freshly prepared juice, which is always welcome in the heat. So one question that I have been asked a lot by colleagues and customers since I went to Saudi is about what clothing to wear. Just to reassure everybody, there aren't any strict requirements anymore. So there's no requirement for female tourists to completely cover most of the time in Saudi. You'll just want to wear like light, long sleeved, like floaty clothing so that you're comfortable in the heat and so that you're comfortable when you're walking around the sites. There will be a few places that you visit where you do need to be respectful and cover your hair, but your guide will always make sure that you know about it in advance. And we just kept a scarf in our day packs with us on the coach so that we were ready if we did need to cover up. While you're on the Wendy Wu tour, you do visit one incredibly special place, which is Medina. Medina is the second holiest city in Islam. And so when you do visit Medina, you will be asked to completely cover and for women to wear an abaya. So that's covering your hair and also wearing an abaya or a cloak, which covers your whole body. You don't need to worry about taking one if you haven't got one. Our guide took us to a local market in advance and we were all able to try one on. It's actually quite fun choosing what colour, what material, and then we all managed to buy one, you know, for about £10 so that we then got that ready for our trip. And in Medina, you need to be able to wear that so that you can get off the coach and visit around the edge of the mosque. It's a really special place. It's obviously so sacred, and while you're there, you'll see tens of thousands of people arriving to perform Umrah, and it's just a really, really special sight, listening to the call of prayer and seeing people arrive. So it's definitely worth making a little bit of effort and being ready and respectful for that. So if you're thinking of going to Saudi, my big tip for you would be go now. You know, Saudi only opened to Western tourists very recently, and at the moment there's not many Western tourists there. And so when you do go to these incredible UNESCO heritage sites, you might be the only group. And not only does that mean that you can explore these sites and have loads of space to look around and get the best photos without sort of, you know, having to jostle people out the way or wait for the view to clear. So it's a really great time to go, and you're going to get a really, really warm welcome. I think that in 5 to 10 years' time, a lot of these sites are going to be incredibly crowded, and there'll probably be coaches of tourists arriving, big car parks, and perhaps, you know, a Starbucks on the corner. So my advice is just go now. Saudi is open and welcome. Our guides are really keen to show you their homeland. So it really is an incredible place to go and a great time to do it.